2000, Avril Coxhead determined that there was a set of words that was crucial for success in an English academic context, the academic word list. This brought about a large change as to the way vocabulary for English for academic purposes was viewed. In this course, we're going to take a look at what the academic word list is, the background to its development, why it is important for students and teachers to be aware of it, and the activities and strategies to use when teaching the academic word list. The academic word list, or the AWL, is a set of 570 words that appear with the most frequency in the English language academic context. This list was compiled by Avril Coxhead at the Victoria University of Wellington, New Zealand. To determine the AWL, an analysis was done of over 3.5 million words of text from academic journals, textbooks, course workbooks, lab manuals, and course notes from the liberal arts, commerce, law, math, and science. The AWL is not a list that is devoted to one particular field of study, nor does it contain any technical words with a very narrow usage. Therefore, it is important for all English language learners who want to move on to study in a higher education context. The AWL contains 570 headwords. A headword is the main word of the word family. For example, the first word in the AWL is analyze. Members of the analyze family are analytic, analytical, analysis, analyst, analyzer. The headwords are then ranked in order of frequency. And finally, the entire list of 570 headwords is divided into sublists. Sublist 1 contains 60 of the most common words used in the AWL. Sublist 2 contains the next most commonly used words, and so on. Each sublist contains 60 word families, except for sublist 10, which only contains 30. For a complete list of the AWL words, please look at the website on your handout. It's important to understand that knowing the AWL alone will not ensure that our students will have sufficient vocabulary for success in higher education. A key assumption in the AWL is that it builds upon the student knowledge of the General Service List, or the GSL, which is a list of the 2,284 most important words in English. The words on the GSL have both high frequency, such as the word the, and a large range of use, such as the verb to be. So when students know the GSL words as well as the AWL, they will have a solid vocabulary for an academic context. When students know the General Service List words as well as the academic word list words, they will know 90% of the words used in academic texts. For more information on the academic word list, as well as the General Service List, please see the resources listed in your handout. The academic word list is important for students and teachers alike. The English language has the largest vocabulary of any language. Therefore, it's an enormous challenge for our students to learn this. The academic word list provides a way for our students to prioritize their vocabulary learning into 570 headwords rather than trying to learn the thousands and thousands of English words that are out there to be learned. Vocabulary is a key predictor of academic success. Therefore, it's important for our English for academic purposes students to increase the size of their English vocabulary with an emphasis on words that are found in the academic context. Don't just hand your students the AWL list and say, "Here, memorize the list." To help you avoid doing this, we're going to look at some general strategies as well as some specific activities for teaching the AWL. Let's take a look at some general strategies. Number 1, put the words into context. Remember, the AWL words are not listed by theme, but by frequency. Therefore, the words are unrelated thematically. It is important to put them into context, either by a reading or a listening text that has a clear topic or set in a clear situation. Number 2, teach collocations. In addition to teaching the AWL words in context, we also need to teach the words that appear frequently with the AWL. For example, when using the word analysis, we can also teach the following collocations: market analysis, data analysis, chemical analysis, and system analysis. Number 3, teach all the words in the word families. The AWL has 570 head words, and if you recall, each of the 570 head words has a word family. We need to make sure that we teach all the head words as well as the words in the word family. Number 4, work with parts of one sublist at a time. There are many words in the AWL. This is too many words for the students to learn. Each sublist of 60 or 30 words each is a little bit more manageable, but still quite large. It might be a good idea to divide the sublist into 15 words. This is a more manageable chunk for the students to learn, and it makes the learning more achievable. Number 5, recycle the words. Don't just introduce the words once. Introduce them one week, revisit the words the next week, and review the following week. Number 6, provide the students with opportunities to use the words in real context. Most text-based activities for learning the AWL words contain controlled practice or rote learning. While this is a necessary step in learning the AWL, we also need to follow these activities by activities that allow for word use in real context. Let's move on to some specific activities. Number 1, students can complete rote learning and controlled practice activities for learning the AWL sublists. For example, definition matching, crossword puzzles, fill in the blank, categorizing, and multiple choice questions. Number 2, students will identify the word class, antonyms, or synonyms of the words on the AWL sublist. They will write definitions for each word along with example sentences. Number 3, students complete a fill-in-the-blank activity where they must choose the correct word from the word family of the AWL head word. For example, they may have to choose from among analyze, analysis, analytical. Number 4, students find all the members of the word families for the assigned words from the AWL. They then define the words and write example sentences for each. Number 5, students will read a text and identify the words they find from one of the sublists of the AWL. They will then define each word they find based on the context clues from the text. Number 6, students will listen to a lecture and identify the words from one of the sublists of the AWL. They will define each word based on the information from the lecture. Number 7, students will read a piece of academic writing that they have completed and underline the words from the AWL sublist that has been provided by the teacher. They will then look again at that piece of writing and see if there are opportunities to add in more words from that sublist. Number 8, students analyze a presentation that they have developed. They will also take note of the words that they have used from the AWL sublist provided by their teacher. They will continue to work with their presentation and look for appropriate places in which to add more words from the sublist. Number 9, students complete conversation activities in which they must use a certain amount of words from their AWL sublist. Why not make it a competition? Place the students into teams and award points for each of the AWL words that they use. Number 10, students can complete online rote practice activities for learning the AWL words. For an example of such activity, you may look at the website listed in your handout. A final reminder, don't just hand your students the academic word list and tell them to memorize it. All the guidelines of good vocabulary teaching and learning apply to the academic word list.